Have you ever felt invisible, even when you were saying all the right things? You speak with good intentions. You try to express yourself clearly, but somehow your voice gets drowned out, your message falls flat, and people don't really listen. Meanwhile, someone else, someone who barely says a word, walks into the room and instantly has everyone's attention. It's frustrating, isn't it? But here's a truth most people overlook. Being respected when you speak isn't about being loud, flashy, or the smartest person in the room. It's about something much quieter and far more powerful. It's about the energy behind your words. It's about how you speak, not how much you speak. Think about it. Marcus Aurelius didn't shout to be heard. Seneca didn't speak to impress. They spoke from depth, from presence, from clarity. And that's what made people listen and remember. Today, in this noisy world, we confuse noise with influence. But influence isn't about volume, it's about alignment. When your words align with who you are, when they come from inner stillness rather than a need to prove something, you speak with a kind of gravity that no one can ignore. And the best part, this isn't some gift reserved for a chosen few. It's a skill, a mindset, a way of showing up, and you can learn it. You can practice it. Whether you're speaking in a meeting, standing in front of a camera, or having a one-on-one conversation, the way you speak can shift how others treat you and how you see yourself. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most powerful and sometimes unexpected ways to speak so people respect you. These aren't tricks. They're principles rooted in Stoic wisdom and modern emotional intelligence. And if you apply even one of them, you'll start noticing the shift, subtle but undeniable. So if you've ever felt unheard, overlooked, or underestimated, this is your moment to change that. Not by becoming louder, but by becoming clearer. Not by forcing power, but by embodying it. Let's begin the journey, not to impress others, but to express who you truly are, with presence, with purpose, and with peace. Let me ask you something that might hit close to home. How many times today have you said, "I'm sorry," and didn't actually need to? "I'm sorry for the delay. I'm sorry I interrupted. I'm sorry I asked. I'm sorry I exist." Okay, maybe not that last one out loud, but that's what it can start to feel like, right? Now, I'm not saying we should never apologize. Apologies are powerful when they're sincere and necessary, but there's a big difference between taking ownership for a real mistake and habitually apologizing for simply taking up space. You see, over-apologizing is more than just a speech pattern. It's a subtle signal to others and to yourself that you don't believe you deserve to be where you are, that you need to shrink in order to be accepted. And the more you do it, the more you start chipping away at your own self-worth. This isn't just about manners, it's about presence. And here's the truth. People take their cue from how you show up. If you constantly apologize for speaking, others will start treating your words as optional. If you apologize for existing, others might unconsciously agree. But what if you replaced "I'm sorry" with something more empowering? Instead of "sorry I'm late," try "thank you for waiting." Instead of "sorry to bother you," try "do you have a moment?" Instead of "sorry for the question," try "here's something I'd like to understand." It's a simple shift, but it changes everything because you're no longer framing yourself as a burden. You're showing respect for others without disrespecting yourself. And here's where Stoicism enters the picture. One of the central Stoic values is self-respect, the understanding that your worth isn't dictated by others' approval, but by your own character and actions. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And part of mastering yourself means choosing words that reflect your true value. So next time you feel an "I'm sorry" rising in your throat, pause. Ask yourself, am I apologizing because I've done harm or because I feel small? And if it's the latter, choose a new phrase, one rooted in clarity, gratitude, or confidence. Because here's the deeper truth. Respect, true, lasting respect, starts with how you speak to yourself. When you shift your inner dialogue, your outer world begins to shift with it. You don't need to apologize for having a voice. You don't need to shrink to make others feel comfortable. You're allowed to take up space, gracefully, thoughtfully, and unapologetically. So today, try letting go of one unnecessary apology and notice what it opens up in your presence, your posture, and your peace. Let's get honest for a second. How many times have you said yes when deep down your whole body was screaming no? You didn't want to disappoint anyone. You didn't want to seem selfish. So you gave in. You overextended. You tolerated. You stayed silent. And maybe you even called it kindness. But here's the truth. Failing to set boundaries doesn't make you a better person. It makes you invisible. You can't live a life of peace, purpose, or power if you're constantly letting others decide where your time, energy, or values go. The Stoics remind us that our most precious resource isn't money or status. It's our inner clarity. And boundaries are how you protect it. Think about it. If you don't respect your own limits, why would anyone else? When you constantly allow late-night messages, say yes to last-minute favors, or tolerate being interrupted, you're teaching people that your space, your needs, your peace are optional. Now, setting boundaries doesn't mean building walls. It means drawing lines with love and firmness. You don't need to be rude, you just need to be real. Try this. Instead of saying, sure, anytime, say, I'd love to help. Can we plan for another day? Instead of tolerating constant interruptions, say, I'm in the middle of something important. Let's reconnect in an hour. Instead of absorbing other people's chaos, try saying, that's not mine to carry. It's powerful. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Because here's what most people don't tell you. When you start setting boundaries, some people will push back hard. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you selfish. They'll try to guilt you back into being small. But that resistance, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're finally doing it right. Because boundaries don't just protect your peace. They reveal who truly respects it. And here's where Stoic wisdom becomes your anchor. Marcus Aurelius wrote, never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. In other words, what good is helping the world if you lose yourself in the process? Boundaries are not about control. They're about clarity. They're how you say to the world, this is what I stand for. This is what I allow. And this is how I choose to live. So today I want to ask you, what's one boundary you need to set? And more importantly, are you willing to stick to it? Because every time you honor your own limits, you teach others how to treat you. And more than that, you teach yourself that your well-being matters. That isn't selfish. That's self-respect. And that's where true strength begins. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful speakers don't rush? They're not racing to fill the silence. In fact, they use it skillfully, intentionally. And that's the difference between being heard and being remembered. In a world where everyone's talking faster, louder, and all at once, silence becomes magnetic. It draws people in. It signals confidence, and it gives your words weight. Most people think they have to keep speaking to sound smart or keep someone's attention. But the truth is, when you speak without pausing, your message becomes noise. It blurs, it blends, and people tune out. But when you learn to pause, suddenly your words land differently. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're in a meeting and you say, I believe we can do better. Now imagine saying the exact same thing, but adding a pause right before it. You look around, you breathe, and then you say, I believe we can do better. Feel the difference? That moment of silence? That's where the impact lives. Pauses give space for reflection, for emotion, for meaning. They show you're not afraid to be still. They show you trust your words enough to let them breathe. And in doing so, you invite others to actually listen. There's a quote from Blaise Pascal that says, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And maybe, just maybe, that includes our conversations too. We're so uncomfortable with silence, we treat it like something to escape. But the Stoics saw silence as strength, a sign of control, a demonstration of presence. And here's the truth most people overlook. A pause isn't a gap in your message. It is part of your message. It's the comma that makes the sentence clearer. It's the breath that gives your voice power. It's the moment that turns sound into meaning. So how do you begin? Start by practicing short pauses after key points. Resist the urge to rush to your next sentence. Let your words settle. You'll notice something powerful. People lean in. They respect your presence. Because someone who isn't afraid of silence radiates strength. Now, if you're wondering, won't it feel awkward? Yes, at first. But over time, that pause becomes your ally. It becomes the difference between speaking to be heard and speaking to be felt. So the next time you're in a conversation, on a stage, or even in a simple exchange, remember this. You don't have to say more to mean more. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Let's talk about humor. Because yes, humor is a powerful bridge. It breaks the ice, it connects people, it lightens heavy moments. But here's the thing, even something as beautiful as humor can become a trap. Have you ever known someone who constantly makes fun of themselves? Always the punchline of their own jokes? At first it might seem charming, humble even, but over time something shifts. People stop seeing that person as confident. They stop taking them seriously. Why? Because when you're always the clown, people forget you're also the leader. There's a subtle line between using humor to connect and using it to hide insecurity. When we joke excessively, especially at our own expense, it often comes from a deeper place, a fear of not being liked, a fear of showing up fully, a fear of being seen. But the truth is, confidence doesn't need a disguise. You can be funny and strong. You can be lighthearted without making yourself small. Think of the people you respect the most. Chances are they're not humorless robots. They probably made you laugh at the right time, with the right touch. But they never joked at the cost of their own value. That's the art. Use humor as seasoning, not the whole dish. Let it enhance your presence, not replace it. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone walks into a meeting and says, "Sorry I'm late, probably because I'm the world's least organized human." It sounds casual, but what message are they reinforcing about themselves? Now compare that to, "Thanks for your patience. Let's jump in." Still light, still human, but it owns the moment without undercutting self-worth. As Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Humor should support the version of yourself you're becoming, not sabotage it. So here's a challenge. Next time you catch yourself defaulting to a self-deprecating joke, pause. Ask yourself, am I saying this to connect Or am I saying this to deflect? Because you don't have to perform to be accepted. You don't have to make yourself the fool to be liked. Real humor, the kind that resonates, comes from security, not anxiety, from presence, not performance. And when your humor reflects who you really are, intelligent, grounded, self-aware, that's when people start respecting you and remembering you. Let me ask you something. When you walk into a room, do people feel safe around you? Do they feel like their name is safe when they're not in the room? Because the truth is, nothing erodes trust faster than gossip. It might seem harmless in the moment, a little venting, a funny story. Uh, you didn't hear this from me, but behind that casual tone is a quiet message being broadcast. If they talk like this about them, they'll talk like this about me too. Gossip doesn't just hurt the person being talked about, it damages you, your integrity, your credibility, your presence. Here's what most people don't realize. The way you speak when someone isn't in the room says more about your character than the words you use when they are. In Stoic philosophy, this is called self-governance, choosing your words and actions based on principle, not pressure. Because just like Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it's not true, don't say it. If it's not kind, don't think it. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be a saint. We're all human. We get frustrated. But there's a massive difference between expressing your feelings with integrity and turning someone's reputation into entertainment. And let's be honest, the need to gossip often comes from our own insecurity. It's an unconscious way of lifting ourselves up by putting someone else down. But here's the good news. When you drop the habit of gossip, you immediately rise. People feel it. They sense that you're someone who can be trusted, someone who won't weaponize words for attention or approval. You become a steady presence in a noisy world. Here's a practical shift. Next time someone brings gossip to you, pause. Don't feed the fire. You can listen with compassion without adding fuel, or gently redirect the conversation. I hear you, but maybe let's talk to them directly about it. Or, I'd rather not get into that. How can we help instead? It might feel awkward at first, but the long-term payoff is powerful. Your words start to carry weight. Your presence earns respect. Because in the end, gossip is cheap currency. Anyone can trade in it. But real influence, the kind that lasts, comes from something far rarer: integrity. So let's make it simple. Let others waste energy on gossip. You speak with purpose. You build with words, not destroy with them. And in doing so, you become someone people not only admire, but truly trust. Have you ever left a conversation thinking, I probably said too much? You're not alone. Sometimes we speak not to connect, but to fill silence, to ease nerves, or to feel in control. But here's the quiet truth most people miss. The more you talk, the less your words carry. The more space you take up, the less space you leave for others. In many cases, excessive talking is just a mask for insecurity. It's a way of proving something: worth, intelligence, value. But in the process, we often dilute the very message we're trying to express. Now think of the people you truly respect, the ones who command a room with just a few words. They speak, and then they stop. They know the value of silence. They understand that sometimes what's not said says more than any clever line could. This isn't about being mysterious or cold. It's about being intentional, about letting your words breathe so others have space to absorb, not just hear what you're saying. The Stoics had a deep understanding of this. Epictetus once reminded his students, nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we might listen more and talk less. Restraint in speech wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. It was strength under control. Try this the next time you speak. Finish your sentence and pause. Let it land. Notice what happens. Often people lean in. They reflect. They respect. You see, short, meaningful statements linger. They echo. They're remembered long after the noise fades. And in a world that never stops talking, choosing to say less is a powerful act of presence. It tells people, I'm grounded. I'm listening. I don't need to prove myself with noise. And when you do speak, your words cut through the static. They land with clarity and confidence. So here's your takeaway. You don't need to win conversations. You don't need to fill every gap. You just need to know when enough is enough. Because in the art of speaking, knowing when to stop is where real power lives. Let's bring everything together with one simple truth. Respect is not something you chase. It's something you build. Not through clever tricks, perfect phrases, or trying to impress, but through presence, through consistency, through showing up each day as someone who respects themselves first. It starts in the quiet moments, how you speak to yourself when no one's watching. It grows in your choices, what you tolerate, what you say yes to, what you say no to. And it shows in your words because how you speak isn't just how others perceive you, it's how you start to perceive yourself. If your voice has been dismissed or doubted in the past, don't shrink. Don't harden either. Rise, not with noise, but with groundedness, with clarity, with the courage to speak less, but mean more. Every lesson in this video wasn't about manipulating how others see you. It was about reclaiming your power from within. Because when you speak with intention, when you live with principle, when you stand firm in who you are, that's when people listen. That's when they feel your presence. That's when respect becomes natural. So here's your next step. Choose one principle from today's video that spoke to you and practice it. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's pausing before you speak. Or maybe it's simply reminding yourself that your voice is already enough. And if this message resonated with you, pass it on. Share this video with someone who's ready to rise in quiet strength. Leave a comment below and let me know what hit home. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because this journey of self-mastery, of inner power, of living with wisdom and purpose, it's only just beginning. Until next time, speak with clarity, live with courage, and lead not with volume, but with virtue